It's great to have Robert Crossman from Gold Standard Decorators here in the studio with me. And I often sum Robert up. He's the only decorator I know that listens, dare I say, to Classic FM, and that is all you need to know about the guy. Great to have you here, Robert. Thank you for coming in. I suppose getting straight into it, when it comes to selling your home, I think a lot of thought goes into colour schemes. What is actually best? Because I think the media say one thing, you've probably got a completely different angle on it all as well. But just talk everyone through your thinking.
Well, you do have to go neutral. You might love aquamarine, you might love aubergine, but the chances are people looking to buy your home won't. So go a neutral colour. My preference these days, and it's definitely on the upper curve of the designer chart, is an off-white with a grey tint. Looks chic, looks clean, doesn't stand out as being yellow like magnolia might, for example. Yep. And people can see the size of the rooms much better in a lighter paint than a darker paint.
What's the issue in your eyes with just going white? Because again, a lot of the TV, a lot of the newspapers say, well, you know what, take everything out, paint it white, and away you go. What's wrong with that in your eyes?
Well, if you have a grand design style contemporary home, you'll probably already be white, so that'll be good. If you're a Victorian semi, then white wasn't, and in my opinion, generally has never been a colour of choice for people in period properties. And white all over might suggest that the owners have slapped on a quick coat of emulsion very quickly to hide all sorts of, goodness knows what, rather than thought out a sensible colour scheme as the grey that I'm suggesting, Alex.
And you've obviously seen a lot of properties like myself. What do you advise in terms of presenting your room when it comes to selling? What would you say to homeowners?
Well, you have to remember that somebody looking at your home isn't going to comment on what a wonderful colour scheme you have, how gorgeous your furniture is, how super the carpets are in oatmeal or beige. They're going to pick up the clutter, the untidiness, the uncleanliness, and any crack, crevice, hole or scuff mark they will definitely see. So all of those have got to go. You've got to declutter, you've got to clean, and although it's time consuming, a quick decorate throughout will resolve all of those issues, and it won't take you that much longer than a good deep clean, and will probably add significantly to the value of your property.
You mentioned about, I suppose, hairline cracks and sort of plasterwork defection. Sometimes you sort of get pitting. What do you do from a decorating perspective? How can you get around this?
Well, everybody will have heard, of course, the secret to a good decorating job is preparation. And that's broadly true. I normally think that a decorating job, you're going to spend days on the prep and hours on the paint. So pitting's got to be rubbed, cracks have to be gouged out, filled, sanded, and if need be, repeat the process.
And what people often want to, I suppose, add value to their kitchen. It's very much something that's a hot topic. Do they replace the kitchen, or can they add value to the kitchen in another way? What are your thoughts when it comes to kitchens?
Well, in the old days, people used to say that the kitchen probably added more value to your home than just about anything else in the home. In my experience, these days people who buy a property will almost certainly rip out the kitchen, whatever it is, whether it's high-end, middle-end or low-end. So I certainly wouldn't recommend replacing the kitchen. If it's looking a bit battered and a bit worn, you can certainly smarten it up. There are primers available today that stick to anything: glass, formica, metal.
So plastic?
Yep, and then onto that you can paint whatever finish and whatever colour you like, and it'll make it look clean and respectable. And the people who buy the house almost certainly will rip it out anyway.
Quite, but it's just there, I suppose, for initial presentation purposes.
It just stops them being hit with a big negative.
It's often a bit of a hot topic in the decorating world. Dare I say, you've got the brands out there. You've got the Farrow and Balls at the very high end. You've got the Duluxes, and you've got the trade paints at the more value end. What is the actual difference? Is there much? And you can obviously colour match, but how do you see it?
In terms of quality of paint, I don't suppose there's a massive difference. Farrow and Ball make claims about the quality of their paint. Most professional decorators don't particularly like using Farrow and Ball, mainly because often you have to three-coat.
Right.
It does have a super finish, though. It's absolutely dead flat matte, which gives an almost chalky-like appearance. Not practical if you have pets or children, because it can't be washed. The trade paints like Johnston's, Leyland's, Dulux are all good quality paints. And as all your listeners will know, Alex, paint is a solid suspended in a liquid, either solvent-based or increasingly these days water-based. The liquid evaporates, leaving the solid behind, and the solids, generally speaking these days, are vinyl or plastic. So when you see vinyl matte, the water in the paint will evaporate off, leaving a thin skin of vinyl, which is durable, washable, and protects the surfaces, dries almost completely flat matte. It doesn't have a sheen, and I would recommend to anybody who still thinks that a shiny paint on the walls looks good, it doesn't. Go matte.
Well, what about windowsills and skirting boards? Because that used to be the fashion of doing gloss on it.
Most people still, when they're looking at a decorating scheme, think the ceilings have to be brilliant white matte emulsion. All of the woodwork has to be brilliant white gloss. It doesn't, and it shouldn't. Depending on the colour scheme you're going for, you can paint all of the wood and the walls the same colour, which will make the room look bigger. And on the wood, my preference certainly, and I think most homeowners' preferences, would be for eggshell. It's a nice flattish finish. It doesn't put a spotlight on all of the imperfections that you're going to get, particularly in older homes where you've got dents and signs of decades and generations of repair and redecoration to the wood, and it gives a nice matte finish. But your listeners should think about being adventurous here and forego the white gloss on the wood. Go for the same colour on the wooden walls. Try one room, see what you think. It always looks fantastic, in my opinion.
And people often, I suppose, go to all the big DIY shops. They think it's all fairly straightforward. With your experience, why would you disagree with that? What are you putting in with your sort of time that you've done in the trade?
As opposed to people DIYing or getting a decorator. Well, I mean, some DIYers are perfectly competent. I mean, I see a lot of houses where the DIY work has been terrific. I see more where it's terrible. You've got to get paint on the surface that it's supposed to go on and on nothing else. Clean lines between paint colours, for example. Blemishes shouldn't be visible. Cracks, blisters, holes shouldn't be visible. People looking to buy a house will see all of these things. And a quick slap over of a paint to hide badly prepared surfaces won't fool anybody. You've got to do a decent job. And it is worth getting a decorator in. It'll be a few £100 you might not want to spend, but it won't give your possible purchaser the opportunity to knock something off your asking price, because the first thing they're going to do is redecorate when they get in. Quite,
and I guess that's one of your sort of cardinal sins with your experience in terms of, as you said, don't cut a corner with the decorations, and as you earlier said, it's all about the preparation work.
Yeah, it is. I have done a number of houses for customers where the house has been on the market, they've not been able to sell. We've gone in and we've redecorated top to bottom, and it's sold within a few weeks after that. It does make a huge difference, and for, relatively speaking, a minimal outlay, it's definitely worth doing.
And what's your, out of interest, what's your biggest frustration with other decorators within the industry? Because I suppose it's got a bit more of a mixed reputation, if you like.
Generally, and it is a sweeping generalisation here, tradesmen in the main can be pretty untidy, and when you're working in somebody's home, they do expect you to treat it with respect. And tidying up as you go around is a simple thing to do.
Yeah. And when it comes to redecorating a room, finally, what are the Robert Crossman Gold Standard top tips when it comes to that?
Clear your room out, and if you're looking to decorate in order to help the sales process, then don't be tempted to go for daft colours. Just pick a nice neutral, as I say, something in the grey spectrum is definitely in and is chic. You can be adventurous, paint the wood the same colour as the walls, as I've said. You don't have to go completely crazy and strip off every bit of paper and put up another bit of paper and paint over that, but blemishes that are visible to you will be visible to your purchaser. So make sure you deal with those. If you're just doing a redecoration for yourself and you're not looking to sell your house, then when you've cleared everything out of that room, go for a different colour scheme. Don't put everything back that you've just taken out. Take that opportunity to declutter. Maybe even look at changing a few little bits of furniture. These days you can buy side tables, lamps, things like that, because the furniture of a room isn't just what you sit on. It's what you put books in and lamps on, and the lighting in a room is crucial as well. And all of that is affordable.
Some great top tips there, Robert. Thank you very much. And if people wanted to reach you, what is the best contact details for you?
rcrossman@btinternet.com or 07793 807 991.
Fantastic, Robert. Thanks so much indeed for coming in.
My pleasure, Alex. Thank you.